She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Working like a slave. That's how so many people are working on their path to success. Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We're so blessed that you decided to join us today. You know, here every single day, we kind of pull back the curtain behind what everyone is telling us success is supposed to look like, right? You know, they tell us it's in houses, it's in cars, it's in stuff. And of course, you got to work like a slave to get after those things. And of course, you got to go into the slavery of debt to get those things, because you certainly can't not have those things. Otherwise, you totally look like you're a failure. And of course, you got to fit in with the Joneses, right? Well, that's exactly where Emily found herself. Today, we're going to have two people that we're going to bring to you that you are going to love. You are going to love these two very powerful stories, because you might identify with where they were and then learn how to get beyond where you're at to get to where they're at. And I know that every day, you and I need a shot of inspiration, right? We need to hear that there is some good news out there. We also need to hear, how do we get to that place? And so that's why every week we bring to you a story that is compelling, that you can identify with, somebody who's been through the hard knocks of making mistakes and then how they were able to eventually get to a different place of living. So I challenge you today, because you know, we all want more out of life, right? I know that there's a calling that's calling out of you, just like there's one calling out of me. And I believe that each and every day we've got to be true to what that calling is, yet we are challenged every day by so much messaging from society that's trying to tell us what success actually looks like. So here joining me is Emily. She's from Baltimore, Maryland. Emily Stewart, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi.
Hi. We're excited for you to share your story. Now, you found yourself in piles of debt, being a workaholic. What were you in debt for, and why were you being a workaholic?
I was in debt mainly with school loans, and then also because of my training, I had used a credit card for a good portion of living expenses and just had really gotten into the habit of spending a lot more than I was making. So I was using a credit card every month, and then I also had school loans to pay off.
Wow. Okay, so when you say because of your training, Emily, what exactly are you saying? Who trained you to use credit cards?
I feel like it definitely wasn't my family, because they really worked hard for what they made and didn't really use credit cards. But once I got into college and watched everybody else around me and saw that I could use these cards to spend and get whatever I wanted, I quickly fell into that same habit.
So you're saying the training of the society that was around you. So your peers, right? Your peers, the other students that are around you. So it's kind of like a cultural thing. There you are in college studying to get some degree. What degree did you get, by the way?
I got a medical degree. I am a physician assistant.
Awesome. So you're going to med school, and here you are surrounded by kids that are wearing really nice clothes, nice shoes. They're partying it up on the weekends or maybe throughout the week. And, you know, you had to fit in. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to break out of what I grew up with and feeling like I always had less than everybody else, and wanted to prove to everybody else around me that I was successful by looking like them and being able to pay for things like them. So I would be the one buying dinners or providing for other people so that people would look at me and see me as successful.
Whoa, you are so young. I mean, usually that's what like stupid people in our 30s and 40s do. But my gosh, so you were like being the generous girl trying to look like you were successful by paying for dinners for people?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did that get into your head? Where did you ever come up with the idea that you needed to meaning looking successful meant buying things for people that you could not afford, or paying for a meal for people that certainly didn't need you to pay for them for that meal? I mean, it wasn't like you're paying for the meal of a homeless person. You're paying for the meal of some rich kid in medical school. You know, where did you get in your head that what you dressed like and what you bought for people showed that you were successful?
Probably by the community I surrounded myself with, and then in my own head, it was the way I came up with to be a proof to everybody else that I was successful, because I felt like I had to show everybody that despite everything that I had happened, and despite some of my experiences, that I was still just as successful, if not more successful, than them, and had to show everybody by giving things away or dressing like everybody else or having the brand name of things and looking the picture of success.
Wow. 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 Man, that is such an interesting perspective. I had the same perspective once after I was a millionaire, of course. You know, not when I didn't go to college, but you know, you're not making money. What were you thinking? You're not making money. You're in med school. You're actually spending money, not making money, and yet I'm going to give this facade. Isn't it crazy what a culture we live in and how much of a facade it really is? That's crazy. So how much total debt did you adopt? Yeah. How much total debt did you end up in with your student loans and the credit cards and car or whatever else that you decided to buy on credit?
It was over $100,000, almost $120,000.
And how old were you by the time you incurred $120,000 worth of debt?
27. It was 25 probably is the time I probably had accrued that much debt, and then got into more each month, really.
Wow. Okay, so Emily,
before I started applying this.
So obviously you felt good and empowered, and you felt important being able to, you know, take the bill at the nice little cafe, you know, of your friend that you were wanting to impress and to show them that you were more successful than you were. But how did it feel when you got the credit card bill?
Overwhelming. I actually would not pay attention to them. I got a lot of late fees because organization is also not one of my strong suits, and I used that as an excuse to pile it underneath papers so that I would not look at the debt. I just didn't pay attention to where my money was going. I would not really pay my credit card bills until I got the late notice, because I didn't want to see how bad it really was. I didn't want to see what I was doing or spend any time making any difference in it. So I started just feeling the weight more and more of that. I got into a business and paid a bunch of money for a business, and didn't want to see what I was getting into, how much debt I was getting into. I just didn't want to look at it.
So your plan for debt was ignore it.
Yep.
Spend, use the cards, ignore the bills.
Yep.
Which created more bills. When did it all come crashing down? Like, when did you finally realize that this was the life that you were living and it wasn't worth it?
I started to realize it when I sold my house. I was living in Baltimore. I sold a house that I had bought during all of this in Oklahoma, and had moved for my career. And it actually cost me $10,000 to sell the house, and I drained any amount of savings I had, and was really looking at my current bills and saying, there's no way I'm going to make this. And I started getting flashbacks of, this is exactly how your parents ended up this way, and you keep telling yourself that you're better than them. And really, in reality, you're living under a lot more debt than they are. And so I started looking for answers, really, that came, really, the crashing around me came at that point. And had gotten into this business and didn't know what I was doing, and had gotten exposure then through Smarter Networker to your training. And at my first event...
and that event was First Steps to Success?
Yes, the First Steps to Success in May in Baltimore. I was kind of hit over the head with that. I really didn't actually pick it up and do anything about it, though. I waited until really when I started putting into action was the nuclear coaching. And my feet were held to the fire, and I was able to really take a look at how I had been spending, and I had kind of been marginally applying the War on Debt system. And then I started to get rid of, once I started to look at how bad I was spending things, I started to get rid of those need to have things. I stopped spending, stopped buying any clothes or shoes or any accessories, and there was a lot of freedom in that.
Really? I want you to talk about that, because right when you said, I stopped buying clothes, I stopped buying shoes, I stopped doing all of these things, I can hear the person that's listening to the show right now going, gosh, how terrible that must have felt. But you're saying the opposite. What do you mean it was freeing?
I made a commitment, and it was freeing because I knew I could do it. I wasn't held down by having to accrue more. I started to become thankful for what I already had, and to see it in a whole new way, to be able to put things together that I had, and not live under this mindset of greed, and see what I had for the price tags on it. I did go through my house and see how much I had spent on things, and started to value things more. And in valuing other things that I had more, I started to then value myself more, and see myself for a different mentality of success. I didn't want to put on any airs anymore. I started to kind of boast in not buying things instead of boast in buying things. And
so hold on a second. So Emily, you basically were saying that you found your value and your identity was wrapped up in things. Your identity was wrapped up in credit cards. Your identity was wrapped up in what you could buy, even though it was being bought with not your money, but the credit card's money. You had your identity, and your definition of success was buying. Your definition of success was spending money that you didn't have. And as you said, that created stress on your life. It's so interesting how we can so easily have our identity wrapped up in the wrong things. When our identity is wrapped up in our title, what we do for a living, when our identity is wrapped up in how much money we make, when our identity is wrapped up even in our children, that if our kids are good, then we feel good as a parent. But if our kids are making stupid choices, then we feel like a failure as a parent. If we have a great career and our identity is wrapped up to that, but then when we lose that career, then who are we? It's important not to have your identity wrapped up in stuff or anything that can burn or leave or mess up. Your identity has to be in something so much more solid than that. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Emily's story isn't over, and you just might be surprised at how she rewrote the ending. It's all coming up next on The Dani Johnson Show.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
It's the Dani Johnson Show.
Ready to go toe-to-toe with the status quo of success? That's exactly what Emily Stewart did from Baltimore, Maryland. Here, she was under the lie, the facade of what our culture tells us is successful. And boy, was she paying a price for it, with over $120,000 worth of debt at the age of 25 years old. Hello, 6 figures in debt? at so young of an age and feeling the pressure of it and thinking that means I have to become a workaholic, which is exactly what she did. And she stumbled on a website called DaniJohnson.com, came out to a live First Steps to Success, and now you got to hear the end of her story. So you began to crush your debt, and you've paid off how much debt in how many months, Emily?
I've now paid off over $30,000 in 9 to 10 months.
Oh my gosh! You've paid off $30,000.
Yeah.
In less than a year. So you're at 9.5 months. You said 9 to 10 months. So 9.5 months, you have paid off $30,000 in debt.
Mm-hmm.
How does that feel?
Freeing. It's a big weight lifted. There's an answer. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm not held down by what I can accrue, and it's now with the same veracity that I attacked buying things. I'm now attacking paying things off and giving things away and selling things that don't mean anything, and wrapping my identity up in a stronger, more reliable, infallible person.
Yes. So your identity isn't wrapped up in nothing. It's now wrapped up in something solid. Okay, correct. So when you say that now, like you viciously go after paying things off instead of how you used to be so ferocious with buying things, like, what are people saying? What are your friends saying about you now? You know what I mean? You paid off $30,000 worth of debt in 9.5 months. Have you been telling people that you're doing that?
I do. I used to, for whatever reason, keep it a secret because until I wrapped my identity up in the right thing. And now it is humorous. I have one friend that is still speechless whenever she talks to me because she says of the difference that she sees in the way that I approach things. Yeah. And how much luxury spending that I was doing. And then I have friends that'll want me to come out to eat or do something, and they'll say, "Oh, I'll buy your lunch," because they know that you're not going to do it. Spend so much at going out to eat, and once I've reached that limit, I'm not going to go any past that. So they've seen that attacking it. They've seen that change in mentality, and there have been people that then have come up to me and said, how do you do this? I need to hear more about this. Wow. I need some more exposure.
Wow. Okay, so you are now, I just caught this, you're now budgeting how much you're going to spend, whether that's budgeting how much you're spending to eat out or budgeting how much you're going to spend to buying things. So that's one of the things that you've changed, of saying there's a limit. So what is your eating out budget now versus what it was?
So now I spend $20 a month on eating out.
Nice. And what was it before?
I used to spend probably close to $150, if not more, sometimes.
Yeah. Wow. And so right there, that gave you money then to attack the debt with versus it still going on more credit cards. And so, and has your life been hurt now that you're not eating out to the tune of $150 a month?
No, quite the opposite. I now eat a lot healthier, and a lot of the stuff that's in all of the eating out food. I am also much more picky about what I eat when I'm eating out. Yeah. So it better be good, and it better be worth my money. Exactly. So in that, it's actually healthier because I'm picking higher quality food. Yes. Since I'm making that sacrifice. Sometimes I'll combine a couple of months together so that I go to eat at a place that I really want to eat. Yeah. And it's made me healthier.
Yes. And I can hear the giant smile on your face, Emily. I'm so proud of you. I really am. I am so absolutely blown away and proud of you for taking that step and learning how to budget. Hey, listen, if you're listening right now and you also can hear the smile in the beautiful face of Emily, as you've seen the pictures of her, as we've been showing you who she is and what her life is since she's been talking to you. But that smile, man, I'm sure that smile was not there when she was covered in $120,000 worth of debt. She now has found a solution. We'd love to give you the same exact solution. First Steps to Wealth has 2 chapters in it about annihilating your debt. 2 solid chapters giving you all kinds of strategies like the one that you heard her talk about. She's selling things and using that to pay off debt and cut back her eating out budget. That was worth it to pay off $30,000 worth of debt in 9.5 months. How awesome. First Steps to Wealth. Get your free copy at DaniJohnson.com. We'll continue with more after this.
Go to DaniJohnson.com to find out about our next live event, First Steps to Success in Orlando, Florida.
I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's D-A-N-I Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
Be sure to tell a friend about the Dani Johnson Show. It just might be the key to the breakthrough they need. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
Who said that you have to be buying lunch for everybody else and that would make you look successful? Who said that buying new clothes meant success? Somebody did. I'd like to know who the who is, because they need a talking to. Because what you just heard from Emily, man, what a story. She's paid off $30,000 worth of debt in 9.5 months, was a spendaholic, workaholic, buying things for people that needed nothing, and it all came crashing down that one day where she said, enough is enough. I'm worse than where my parents are, and I cannot do that. Now she's inspiring other people. Don't you love that? Hey, right before that last segment had ended, we talked about First Steps to Wealth. Listen, if you're a first-time listener to this show, we'd love to give you a free copy. If you want to have that same smile that you heard in Emily's voice and saw on her face in those pictures, then you have got to have this copy. And not only that, not only read it, but you got to follow what it says to do. And as you follow what it says to do, because it's so simple, a 3rd grader can follow this. In fact, you might want to have your 3rd grader read these 2 chapters on War on Debt so that they can hold you accountable. The whole family can attack the debt so simply, and it's empowering. Once you have this one little strategy enter your mind, you feel completely empowered and you get on fire with attacking this thing. So call now to 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. Ask for Nellie or Nate, and they would be happy to serve you and get your copy of First Steps to Wealth. Now, if you'd like an ebook copy, it's free. You can get it right now sent to your email box. If you want the physical copy, you pay the shipping and handling to your house. We will send you the $15 book. I think that's a fair deal. That's like more than fair, all right? 866-760-8255. That is Nellie or Nate. They love serving you, so call them immediately. Okay, so now we're moving on to a husband who found himself kind of in a quandary and began to not trust his wife anymore. Yes, she was doing some things that challenged his ability to trust her, as this was a repeated offense again and again and again. I'm excited to bring to you a family story, honestly, that has brought an incredible inspiration to so many thousands and thousands of people, and I know that's going to inspire you as well. So we've got Derek Hollinshead from Los Angeles, California. Derek, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, how are you?
So good to talk to you. It was great seeing you a few weeks ago in Los Angeles when we were there for First Steps to Success. Derek, my gosh, you know, it's not that often that a husband will begin, well, first of all, that a wife, because the first time I heard that you were not trusting her came from her mouth, not from your mouth, but it came from hers. And when I heard your wife, Michelle, beautiful, gorgeous, statuesque, model-looking woman, man, incredible heart, so humble in so many ways. You guys are such a dynamic couple. But I really want to dive into the perspective from your side as a husband. Now, what exactly was your wife doing to cause you not to trust her?
Oh, wow. It wasn't terrible, but it was kind of like just enough. You know, we were just trying to get on the same page financially, and just paying off some of the debts to you know, I guess, kind of go forward in a good way. And from time to time, when she would go to visit her mom in Vegas, you know, and stop by a casino, and And when she gets the bug, it's hard for her to stop when she's gambling.
Wow.
And so from time to time, we would just have a talk about it, and I really tried to just communicate my frustration, but at the same time, really be merciful, because she's my partner.
Yeah.
And if she falls down, I need to pick her up as best I can.
Yeah. But Derek, was it about the gambling, or was it the result of the gambling?
I would say it was more the result.
And what was the result of the gambling?
The result was that however much money was just gone just like that.
Yeah.
And it was it was just going against the direction that we were trying to go in, that we had talked about, that we'd even agreed upon.
Right. So did her gambling and these little spurts of gambling, or even spurts of spending, put you guys in debt?
Fortunately, it wasn't any worse, not significantly worse. Like, it might be a few $100s, but not, we're not talking about, let's say, $2,000, all at once.
Wow.
But it was more the principle of it.
Right, right. So according to Michelle, she says that she put you guys in debt 3 times because of her spending. How did that feel as a man? I really want to get behind this, because I talk to a lot of families, and I bring to light these 2 different sides of the story. Here's the husband working so hard to provide for his beautiful wife. He's working so hard to provide a living, a standard of living, a home, right? Trying to plan for the future, trying to be wise with money, and yet your partner is not sharing that same vision. As much as you could sit down and have merciful conversations with her, yet here she was, racking up bills, racking up debt. What kind of pressure did that put on you as the head of the household?
Yes, it was very frustrating. I mean, it felt like, I don't know, swimming upstream, trying to roll a big rock up the hill, only to have it roll back down again.
Yeah.
And just, and of course, I guess trying to hold it all in. That I don't want to be harsh, but at the same time, the situation, calls for a pretty urgent reaction, but not wanting to overdo it.
Right. So what brought the change in your guys' life? Because you're not there anymore, and she had gotten really convicted about the way that she was spending the household money, and her habits and her choices that kind of put a lot of pressure on you. I love the analogy you used of pushing a giant rock uphill only to have it falling back on top of you. Did you ever come to a place where you felt like it was hopeless? Like, is this ever going to change? Is for the rest of my life me going to be paying off the debt that my wife keeps putting us in?
No, I didn't get to the place of being hopeless about it. I think I just didn't even think that far down. I think I was just kind of stuck in the moment about it.
Right. And how many years did this go on for?
Let's see. Gosh, we really battled it probably over the first 7 of our 10 years of marriage.
Wow. 7 years. That's a long time. That's a heavy, hard battle to be fighting for that long. Okay, so what brought the change?
2 parts to it. The first part was that I guess the third time that I had one of these, we really had a talk about it. Something for her just clicked, that how much it was hurting me, and yet how I was really trying to be patient with her. And then the second part was her coming out to first steps, and all of a sudden the light just really turned on as far as we got to get this financial thing together.
Yep. And so it was there that she learned a strategy of annihilating debt and coming together with her husband and to honor her husband with spending now. So what's the end of that story? How much debt have you guys paid off?
We have paid off $165,000 in 34 months.
Wow. Are you shocked that your wife has come in agreement with you to no longer spend the way she was spending?
Yes, it truly is. It truly is amazing in that, and just to feel like we're on the same page, and you know, I mean, we're still on the journey as far as paying off debt, and
Yep.
you know, I have to admit I've made a mistake or two, you know, in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But at least we're facing the battle together.
Yes. And you know what? There's nothing more powerful. There's absolutely nothing more powerful than a couple who have come in agreement and are facing the battle in which we created together, because we are one flesh, that we created together, and now to hit it head on and attack the thing. I think that's an important message that all of us need to hear again and again and again, because we can so often be at odds with each other, which is not bringing solution. And if we are at odds, we're causing division. And the problem is not being resolved, but you were patient with your wife. We're going to continue here in just a moment. I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into this because I think it's important, and I want to hear from you, Derek, what you would advise to other men who are in the same exact situation, because to be honest with you, it's really trippy. In this last 12 months, I have found and have heard from more females that they were really the culprit for the debt and not the husbands, which is really surprising in so many ways. This is Dani Johnson, and we're going to figure out how do we solve that right after this.
Stay right here for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
This is The Dani Johnson Show.
What do you do when you and your wife or your husband are just not in agreement? Do you fight? Do you yell? Do you scream? This is Dani Johnson. Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Good questions, right? And see, every day we're tackling topics that are hindering your success, as well as bringing you answers and solutions and advice that's going to help to propel your success. You know, sometimes we can be living a life, as what Derek said from Los Angeles, California, who's joining me today, that his marriage at that time and the financial battles they were having was feeling like pushing a giant rock up a hill only to having it fall back on him. I mean, can you just see the pressure on the shoulders of the husband when the wife was not in agreement? He's saying we need to pay off debt. We need to be frugal. She's saying, no, thank you. I'm going to go gambling with my mom, and I'm going to go shopping. I'm going to do all these other things. And so here they hit a point of frustration. And as you heard, after first steps to success and after her seeing the pain and the suffering that was bringing upon her husband, what a tender-hearted woman that she says, I can't do this anymore. After coming out of first steps to success, she joined forces with her husband. They used the strategy of war on debt, have paid off $164,000 worth of debt in the last 34 months, which is completely amazing. But the thing I want to focus on right now for this husband who was literally frustrated, didn't know what to do, and have conversation after conversation with his wife, yet hit nothing. Derek, I'm proud of you that you were patient and merciful and kind with your wife, and that you had also realized that you had fallen down financially a few times yourself, and so that's why you didn't lash out at your bride, which meant that there was an amount of trust that she had with you and she respected you, even though I'm sure from time to time when your wife was not walking alongside with you concerning the finances and she wouldn't be frugal, that you felt disrespected by her. Is that true? Did you feel that she was dishonoring you and disrespecting you when she would go and gamble or she would go and spend?
Yes. Yeah, I would ultimately have to say yes. I guess I didn't feel like it was intentional. I felt it was more like she didn't get it.
Yep. Yep. So there had to be some communication breach or something? Is that what you were thinking the problem was?
Well, I mean, I think there are things that sometimes you understand intellectually, but you don't quite understand at the heart.
Yep.
And I would describe this as that way.
Right, right. And so I really respect you. I really do, because many men can't handle being disrespected over and over and over again by their wife and their children. No, actually, most humans don't really like being disrespected again and again. And it really shows and proves your servant heart, your servant leadership that you had, to be patient with her, to be loving with her, to be kind with her, and to realize I've messed up too, and I'm not going to harp on her, but we got to come to an agreement here. So now that she's come to the table, and now that she's using more on debt, and now that she's, really vigilant in this area, do you feel that now you are more respected and more honored by your wife?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. Many women don't see that connection, but it's crystal clear. It's like so easy. If we could all just learn the combination of what brings respect to our husbands, and we just work that combination again and again, life would be so much easier, and the family would be so much more successful. So how does it feel now to be on this side of the fence and know that you have a solution, you're working the solution, you've been consistently working the solution for 34 months, paying off $164,000 in debt? Has this drawn you and your bride closer?
Yes, it has.
And how?
Well, I mean, first of all, just feeling unified. I think the next thing is even in discussions on how we're going to use money, what goals are we going to pursue, and so forth. I think last year was a great year for us in that we had several milestones that we celebrated, and it just felt great to plan out a budget for the year, and do the things that we wanted to do, even as we were trying to pay off the debts that we're paying off.
Do you look at your bride differently today? Do you see her differently now?
No, she's as awesome as ever, but it's nice. It's just nice to be every bit on the same page and be the team that I know we can be.
And I think that's important for every man. I think that's important for every husband. And so often there's so much division in the household. And of course, let me ask you this. Did it affect at all your work performance, this strife that happened in the home concerning debt?
No, I'd have to say no.
You don't think it affected your attitude at all? You don't think you ever brought some of that frustration to the office?
No, in my job, it's kind of easy to compartmentalize.
You're one of those guys. Well, that's awesome. That's awesome that you did not allow the frustration that was happening at home to affect you at work. A lot of guys realize, whether they realize it or not, it affects their performance at work. It affects their the ability to focus. It affects their ability to perform. When they're being disrespected by the one female, the one human on earth that they draw the most amount of respect and honor from, when they aren't getting it there, it has a tendency to have an impact on how he feels about himself in the workplace as well. And so fortunately, you were able to compartmentalize those things, which not a lot of people have that gift, but you obviously do. What do you say to the husband? Don't talk to me, but I want you to talk to the husband that is watching or listening to this program right now. And he's in the same exact situation that you were in 34 months ago. What do you say to him?
Well, I've actually had this kind of conversation before, and I think the first thing is to remember that you and your spouse are a team, and so lashing out at them is not going to ultimately, that's not going to help the team.
Yeah.
Now, being patient through it all until they get it will be difficult. It will be frustrating. You're going to feel what you're going to feel, but it's important to stay the course. It's important to state what the situation is, what the reality is, so that they have a chance to know the truth for what it is, but share how it affects you.
Yeah,
I think those are some of the things that are there, but going about it in a good way, and at the same time persevering in it.
Yeah,
gives you the best chance.
Yep, yep. And I'm sure, are you a praying man, Derek?
Yes.
Did you ever bring this before your God and ask for help?
I wouldn't say a whole lot, but yes, it was there.
So you cried out to him as well. And obviously he brought a solution. And obviously because you were a patient man, you were kind to her and her mistakes, this created trust. She finally was able to hear your heart and ask for and come together with you on that. Derek, thank you so much for joining us today, and thanks for the advice that you gave. We appreciate you. We appreciate your example of servant leadership, and congratulations on your great success. And I know that all of us want to be the wife that is bringing respect and honor to our husbands and not adding pressure to them. And so I hope that today's program is making a difference in some families' lives, as I know what it is. So I don't know which side of the coin that you're on, because it's both sides. Sometimes it's a husband that's a suspender that's going out and blowing lots of cash and keeping the family in debt. Sometimes it's the wife. But hopefully what you just heard has given you some advice today on how you can improve that situation. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Don't go away. The next segment might just change your life. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
For families in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua, life is filled with fear and struggle. They don't have enough food for their kids, clean water is hard to find, and they're living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel on top of mining tunnels that could explode and sink at any moment. But a miracle is in the making, and you can be a part of transforming this village. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha to see how you can help. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org, and click on Santa Pancha. This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Helping you become all you were meant to be. And now, back to the Dani Johnson Show.
So whether you identify with Emily or Derek, whichever situation, Emily being a single college student racked up with debt, or Derek, who wound up in debt 3 different times in 7 years of marriage because of his wife, and his own choices as well. Either way, I know that you got inspired today. Between these two couples, over $200,000 worth of debt has been paid off in a very short period of time. You heard Emily, $30,000 in 9.5 months, and then the Hollinshead family, $164,000 worth of debt paid off in 34 months. It's possible, friends. And listen, we want to give you a guide, the same exact guide that these two families have used, and that's First Steps to Wealth. We'd like to give you a free copy right now. 2 chapters in here about debt, 2 chapters in here about job performance, and secret little strategies that you can implement right now. Literally, you could implement them right now and begin to see a result. Don't continue to live your life the way you're living it. If there's a lot of frustration going on in your life, if you keep hitting your head up against the wall, if you keep coming up against that same roadblock again and again, we'd love to give you solutions. This book has helped thousands, tens of thousands of people from all over the world, and it is waiting for you to have have hold in your hands. Call 866-760-8255. Again, that's 866-760-8255. Ask for Carlene today. Ask for Carlene. She loves to serve you, and she's waiting for your phone call right now. 866-760-8255. And get your copy right now. Tell her you just talked to me. And if you'd like a physical copy of the book, you pay the shipping and handling. If you'd like the ebook, absolutely free. She's going to email it to you right now. On the other side of that, you know what? There is a group of people of us who are celebrating right now. And the reason why we're celebrating is because we are so excited about something a big project that we've been working on. And we just finished one part of that big project. And that is helping to bring homes, brand new homes to the extreme poor. To poor people who have absolutely nothing, no food, no water, and not even viable shelter. They just have pieces of wood all formed together to create some kind of shelter, some kind of structure. You can't call this thing a home. But we have all come together. We're going to build 1,000 homes, right? Isn't that worth doing something? Isn't that like purposeful? 1,000 families are in desperate need right now, and you and I can answer that need. How? By, I don't know, like don't eat out this week and take the money that you normally would eat out with and send it to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Or you can call this phone number and you can give it right now. 888-291-7123. Again, that's 888-291-7123. They're happy to help you right this minute and say, I want to help the extreme poor in Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. kingsransom.org. And if all you got is $5, put in $5. But if you're one of those, that you got an extra $5,000 and your heart is really beating for doing something purposeful with that money versus using it for something silly or stupid or using it for something you've already used it for before, take that $5,000, go straight to kingsransom.org, and you're going to build one home like that. One home will be built for one family, maybe a single mom who can't feed her children that now will be put in business, have water, and a house because of your $5,000. All right, this is Dani Johnson. I'm excited to talk to you tomorrow with another exciting topic to help you to have greater success in all areas of your life.
This has been the Dani Johnson Show. If you want to hear more, visit us at DaniJohnson.com.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.